Welcome everyone and good evening here from our nice little headquarter. Some topic I also wanted to mention for maybe some days and weeks already. And again, why do we do this YouTube channel? Yeah, software is a little bit frustrating, and as I probably mentioned a little bit in some live streams from time to time, it's also a little bit of a therapy, a relaxing session here, hanging out, and also with the vintage stuff and microkernel tinkering and repair and stuff, also what I want to do and educate and stuff. And as I also mentioned probably in some live stream, each time when some customer pisses me off too much, I just stop this shit now and do something else, like live streaming with you guys, trying to influence, or otherwise just do some vintage stuff, enjoy the sunshine and walk around here in Berlin and enjoy life, because this is after a decade, so 2 decades of open source, over a decade of commercial software development. And here's some insight that I want to share with you guys, with the world, and hope to influence stuff to the better. And yeah, I got some support case, and the problem is software support and updates, and in my opinion this is also something that Apple influenced quite a bit, because they with macOS have done this thing of not having paid macOS updates anymore. And this is unfortunately what users expect from this, and also Microsoft followed this a little bit with this never-ending Windows 10 update situation there. And by the way, this video is sponsored as the last one by water. Some regions of the world even drinkable tap water, amazing stuff. And so support we got here, and this is just not, I hope I deleted all the personal information as usual, as per the last one, and then tell me, guys. So the problem is, and of course in reverse order, because this is what most people usually write emails like. And also we made a little bit of the mistake at ExactScan. By the way, fun fact, ExactScan version 1 was a free demo application, because initially a decade ago we tried to sell a driver for macOS. Of course this failed heavily, probably never tried to sell drivers. So initially we sold a Avision driver for Avision scanners, Twain driver for macOS, and because most programs were so buggy and such, we wrote ExactScan. ExactScan 1, don't even have a screenshot here. So ExactScan 1, like version 1, was only a very simple Twain application to save images like TIFF, JPEG, PDF, and we even gave it away for free just to use our driver. This model sucked, failed, can't recommend it. And also our driver didn't have initially some software activation. It was pirated to no end. It was ridiculous, even from commercial companies. Even for those people, we had some inquiry, like some system integrator wanted this for their medical doctors stuff and such, and they said they will sell hundreds or thousands. They only brought 8 on something, and later we found out they used it at least 20-30 people and fun stuff, but that is not the point. Another point, however, from the history, our ExactScan version 2 was then paid. We changed this. Since then ExactScan, the drivers are integrated in one application bundle, like a little bit like iTunes for Mac, because we like this seamless integration, and also to avoid this integration hassle, and also have some license key there and software to avoid endless use of hundreds of or thousands of, we had a case of hundreds of users with one license at some energy company that shall not be named here. And anyway, so version 2, we made the mistake version 2 because somehow we also did embedded Linux and we had other priorities and such. We supported for not 1, not 2, for 3. We supported ExactScan 2 for 7 years for free. 7 years of free updates for the regular version of ExactScan 2. It were over 100 updates. We had ExactScan 2, 0.1, 0.2, like open source stuff, you know, 2.0.1, 2.0.2 and such, to 2.0.20 or something. Then eventually we changed this. 2.0 became annoying, then 2.10 to 11, 13, 15, 20, then 2.50, 2.60 with always some dot minus. So over 7 years, over 100 updates for free. For the ExactScan was only 98 euro and later 97 euro. So completely cheap software. Our biggest mistake, 7 years of free updates. This was not so sustainable. And after 7 years, we switched to number this by years, so not ExactScan 2, but ExactScan 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, to make this simple, and have here, we write here also on the website. But by the way, this is not the summary, it's not paid advertisement, no shameless self-promotion, just that you have the overview, and the overview will end in 10 seconds. We write here now in the meantime that this includes over years the supported updates, 2 years of free updates is written here, and I think this is fair and reasonable. And by the way, we are not as evil. First of all your personal Macs and Windows machines, and by the way, we are so amazing, we don't even care if you use the ExactScan license on Mac and Windows or Linux and all of them, or mix them, and it works for all your personal machines. And I think we have extremely fair licensing conditions. We don't even track this, we don't count this, only when we maybe see the hundreds activation on a license number. Maybe our servers sends us an email, hey René, maybe you want to take a look at this here, 100 activation, maybe there's something wrong. So even if they activate 10, 20, 30 times, we don't even really realize and care so much, because we have better things to do, like YouTube streaming and enjoying the sunshine. That is the overview. So now, since version 2, since 2015, approximately 2 years of free updates and of fairness. We, not like other companies, having an ugly subscription. I hate subscription. And by the way, you see, I hope from the videos you've realized I'm quite reasonable guy, and I think these conditions are super fair, and not like other annoying subscriptions. We don't cancel this for the users. They can use it basically forever, until it doesn't work for them anymore due to Mac OS or Windows updates or whatnot that are out of our hands. So we are not intentionally disabling anything on version number of Windows or Mac OS or something. As long as it works, they are lucky. And if something breaks due to USB changes or whatever, maybe eventually they want to buy an upgrade. This is a summary. And by the way, the updates are approximately 50% of the original price, which I, by the way, also find pretty fair. So if you go to our store, and the summary will end now in a second. So update prices here, ExactScan regular 79, update 39, so a little bit over 50%. Pro version with OCR and barcode and whatnot, 99, update 59. And by the way, pro tip, if you want to cheat us and save a little bit, you can order, because we allow people to cross update. So you see, it's totally super fair. When people have an ExactScan and they want to later, after 3 years, upgrade to ExactScan Pro, they can just use the regular ExactScan Pro upgrade and save even, and don't need to pay there additionally for any. And by the way, fun fact, if you want to save, I think you save money if you order, because we allow this cross update. So for example, you can cheat us and save if you order Recompress for $19.99 and then order an ExactScan Enterprise upgrade, because Enterprise for high volume scanners is $297 including VAT. So if you buy Recompress for $19.99 and then the ExactScan Enterprise upgrade, this will even work. We don't even care, and you will save $50. Just an amazing pro tip from the managing director and whatever. So fair we are, and I think this is pretty reasonable. And why have we made this change? Because some years ago, first of all, we need to pay salary, we need to pay rent, we need to pay internet, we also occasionally need to buy a new Mac or ThinkPad or something. And also the doorbell. Sometimes you have some moments in your life when you really wonder, so the doorbell stopped working here. We're in a house with multiple parties and offices and such. It was not our fault. And the doorbell reparation, because it's some system thing, I did not want to mess with the system bus and destroy the central doorbell operation thing unit there. Someone had to come here from the house management and such, because I did not want to probe my logic analyzer in there and find out what is wrong with the stupid programming of the stupid doorbell. The repair of the doorbell costed us €280 plus €50 for the guy to drive here. And then I thought, this was one of those moments I thought, you know what, we have not damaged the doorbell. I would have repaired it myself if it would not be some old-fashioned analog shit bus system. And I need to pay €280 for a new unit. Apparently our ring unit thing there was defect, whatever. So €100-something for the unit, €100-something for installation, and €50 for driving here and back. So thank you very much. And then you realize, and also recurring, we don't get rent for free, we don't get electricity for free, we don't get any new Macs. The Macs become more expensive. We should purchase the most expensive Macs, and we should give the users, by the way, how should this work? Free updates forever. And from what should we live in 10 years? And those people who want updates forever usually are the ones, if they are electrician and the doorbell doesn't work at the neighbor, do you think they fix the doorbell for the neighbor for free, or a car service guy services the car of the neighbor for free? And by the way, fun fact, a friend of my father, by the way, electrician, I said it already, friend of my father has next to Hanover some car repair shop. He earned so much with car repair that he has a Porsche GT3 in his garage, and then you wonder, where is my Porsche GT3? Unpaid updates. So, and in the meantime, I became very strict, and this is, by the way, when people piss me so much off that I get depressive from this shit. I close my MacBook, say, okay, these people do really not deserve that I work on the Mac software, and I take a vintage board out and do some vintage programming or some live stream or repair my wife's iPhone, because why should I work 3, 4, 5 years for free and they don't even want to buy an upgrade? So what happens? So someone wrote here, unfortunately in German as so often, I hope it says open source. What open source? What is open source in this case? One doesn't have to pay anything. What do you mean with open source? No, ExactScan is not open source. Not sure where you read open source. ExactScan is not open source. Other software is open source. The headline of this video is no paid software update model not sustainable. Anyway, this is our commercial software, and because I made also another video, making a living out of open source is even more difficult. This is next to impossible in my opinion, unless you overcharge. We do on the front page, we do open source, but not everything. We started only doing open source until we realized we can't make a living. And this means we do open source, but not only. This is comma, and maybe I make a semicolon or whatever. Anyway, but some of the, for example, digital image processing is even open source. Exact Image you can download, and our T2 amazing source distribution is also open source. And so tons of open source, but eventually we need to earn money with something. And then look at this support. Someone writes us, he accidentally, I as usual, simultaneously translate here. Dear ladies and gentlemen, there in German, unfortunately, and by the way, diplom, here, lawyer something or so. He accidentally, for some time ago, deleted OCR-Kit, and he does not even have his license key anymore. Can we send it again? And so he brought this, I looked this up, he brought this in 2015. And by the way, our support is so amazing, which I, by the way, quite proud that we have otherwise amazing support, I hope, and work methods here. So he writes at, is it even written here? He wrote at maybe, okay, here's no time, but it was 21, maybe I accidentally deleted it, but whatever. I replied the same day, this was 21 something, the same day, some days ago. I replied 23, 26 probably, after some YouTube live stream, right when I was home going to bed. Why should I delay it? If I delay it, I need to do it the next day anyway, or someone else here. I looked it up and sent him the license. I said here, good evening, here's your license key, right? And of course I X this out here. So even 3 years, nearly 4 years later, so this was 2015, so this is 15, 16, 17, 18, this is the 4th year, maybe, approximately. After 4 years, other companies would tell you, you know what, we don't keep database of all your licenses, you need to care about this yourself. So people don't have backups, they don't keep their software licenses. 4 years later, for free in the night, or doesn't even matter if night or day, but we need to do it anyway, with our amazing support round trip time here, reply him the license, and then he even activates, then he has more support inquiries. He activates the wrong version, because why should he activate OCR-Kit Pro? He tried to activate their OCR-Kit with a screenshot and so on. And then I wrote, even there after this, I responded, of course, that simply use OCR-Kit Pro, then this also works. And by the way, these are people, they don't keep a backup, they don't keep their license key, and they can't even read, because our software activation tells you this license key is not for the software, and people should, we do not write, it is for another software, because we have ExactScan, OCR-Kit, Recompress, maybe some other project stuff. So for pirate reasons, not to make it too easy for pirates to guess license keys, we do not print out for what licenses, so we only print out, you know, sometimes we need to be a little bit smart, but not too smart, so we even print out, it's not for the software, it's not for this software, like look up your software. Even then, the people cannot read and write us an email. Why do, by the way, why do people 4 years later need to bombard us with one email after another just because they can't read, because they don't have a backup, because they don't keep their software licenses together, and they can't even read. Sorry to say this, but you will see the next email what he answered. I can also tell him that he can't read, although he has a diploma in law or something. Maybe I should not get into a fight with people who have a diploma in law, but in the meantime I don't care anymore. And then he tries to activate the latest version, which obviously doesn't work. And by the way, this is 2 years. We are even so fair that we don't make a cut there at exactly this day. We round up. So this 2 years of guaranteed free support and updates, we even round up to 3 years, up to 3 years usually. So it is more like 2.5 years for most people, with software updates that work forever if you don't delete them and lose your license key. And then, of course, support emails we always answer. We do not say, hey, you don't have support anymore. You have seen, I replied there multiple times, even the license key, I looked it up. And by the way, who pays for this time that I go on each store emails and look up his old shit? And then he can't, and is it my job here to keep other people's backups and such? And then I write here even nicely, okay, as the message says, unfortunately, your license is a little bit too old. We have 2+ years of guaranteed support and update. Unfortunately, by the way, in the meantime, I write a little bit one-sentence story to give those people some clue and indication. Unfortunately, Macs become more expensive. Apple always changes something in macOS, and unfortunately, we always need to change something and support and get it working and test and so on. And so that we are required to finance our salary and ongoing costs for also with recurring update sales. Obviously, and by the way, the software is dirt cheap, right? 59 euro, and our regular non-pro version even only 39 euro. For 39, and the update is 39. For 39 euro after 4 years, as diploma lawyer something, you make such a hassle about over 39 euro and waste my time. I earn nothing. I should support you. And for 39 euros that you can't pay, when a doorbell reparation at the front gate here costs 280 euro, when the technical inspection for our car costs more than 39 euro, we can't even pay our company car gasoline for 1 month from 39 euro. And by the way, from this 59 euro or 39 euro goes VAT away, so 19% in Germany, nearly 20%. So from 59.99 we have less than about 40 euro left, and from 40 euro we pay electricity, internet, Macs, salary, taxes and so on. And you can imagine how many thousands of licenses you need to sell to even finance your recurring electricity, rent, salary, tax advisor and other recurring costs, you name it, for 39 euro. And I thought this kind of friendly message, hey, hello, we have recurring costs, we need to buy new Macs, we need to always spend time analyzing what is new in macOS, what the vendors change and so on. And this is not, and by the way, this is my time that I sit there or someone else sits there. I need to pay someone to write the stupid messages or copy and paste the template and maybe change a sentence or two that it is a little bit custom to the user. And then he writes, hello, and then in German, geht's noch? And like, are you still okay in your brain? Sounds a little bit, I think, translation, if you would probably agree. And by the way, each email I answered professionally. I never said, you're a bloody idiot, but he writes there like slang, like you are a little, nearly like an idiot. He wanted to continue to use this app. Yeah, if you want to continue to use this app, then don't delete it, keep your license key, and don't write our support 7 messages over trying to use the latest version when it clearly prints out license not for the software and license support expired. And now he should pay money again. Yes, do people for you lawyer service per hour not? Do you sit, is this person sitting with his clients for free? And we should support software forever. And this is just, maybe I close it now unless I have here. Of course, the last answer I I answered him now. Unfortunately, I need to spend now more unpaid time for email. Normally, I would not even answer anymore. But to summarize it, and by the way, how do you even address us with your article? How do you articulate yourself here in your email? And do you work for free? What do you think the running costs are here? How should we pay rent, salary, and such, answering your emails and keeping a backup of your software? And I make these videos not to shame this person, and I think I deleted all his personal information, probably. But with open source, nobody wants to pay you. With paid software, people often, well, you can guess the amount of people who we have two kind of people. 50%, and by the way, I think our software is reasonably low cost. Well, maybe ExactScan Pro for 99 euro, but again, this is a professional software for people who scan professional documents. The cheap version is 79 without OCR and barcode. And if you ask us nicely, by the way, this is also the point. If someone tells us they have no money, for example, from India, sometimes people write us from India, they don't have so much money. We give them 50% off. Not to encourage you to write us now an email, you want 50% off, but this is what we do. Do you think people in Brazil and India that write us we don't have so much money? Without question, because why should we discuss with people the license costs? We immediately offer them 50% discount, otherwise we never sell to them anyway and make them happy. And it's not like we're the most evil company like Apple or Microsoft here. And with all the summary, of course, this person writing there does not know that we give other people in other parts of the world 50% off. But this is what the App Store, Apple, is encouraging the users since the iPhone, since switching macOS to a free update yearly, unless, well, free update only, blocking some Macs from being updated. I only want to give you here some summary. I'm not yet bankrupt. As you see, we can not only buy expensive lenses here and YouTube stream here, but it is a little bit frustrating, and this is why after 10 years with this commercial software development, yes, we still earn money, and in another live stream I said our sales are 20% up, but you know what, I would also like to employ more people. I would also like to grow this company. I would also like to write even more amazing software, but we cannot do this with every second person writing us they don't for an update. After recently we had, and I nearly wanted to make a video recently already, someone from London mailed us, and they did not even have such a license. Someone from, I think they were using a light version. So we have a light version that some scanner manufacturers, we got over the years, sometimes I mentioned this maybe, we got some scanner vendors to exceptionally, very seldomly put the software into a box. And I mentioned already from this, we earned extremely little next to, actually usually they want to pay nothing, and I don't give them some working software for nothing. So usually we try to get them pay at least $2, $3, $4, $5. But $4 is $5 is already the maximum you can get out of vendors, which really rarely works. You need to win the lottery if you manage to get $5 from a box vendor to put your amazing software into a box. So let's say usually we get around $3 for software in a box, like ExactScan Lite, which can barely buy. By the way, ExactScan Lite is a little bit annoying, but you know, we get $3 for this, that people can scan out of the box on macOS with this PC scanner. And why do we make this just workable, that you can just scan? Well, because obviously we want to sell an upgrade, because with $3, even if the vendor sells 1,000 scanners, we get $3,000. How long can you run a company from $3,000? Not long. And if those companies who watch this video, who pay us $3 for having it in the box, then greetings. And anyway, you know what, I mentioned this in another live stream already. You know, the most funny anecdote of this is this. I would not personally want to work with this ExactScan Lite version because it's really annoying. It can barely scan. It can only scan to PDF and TIFF, nothing else. And even this not amazing, with no options, and can just barely scan. And people are satisfied with this. With this $3, we have an upgrade rate of less than 10%. Ideally, of course, would be people can scan, and eventually they want to scan a little more. Ideally would, of course, be an upgrade rate to a 4. And by the way, those people could directly use $39 upgrade here. So they get a quite good deal for buying such a scanner if they want to scan a little more. But even this, with this shitty working, barely working ExactScan Lite version, people don't upgrade. Less than 10%, so much to if you ever thought you give some software halfway decent, half for free, next to nothing, and you can make money with upgrades. Forget about this. And so recently, someone from London mailed us, and they had this, for 7 years, they were scanning with this shitty version, and just due to some, I think it stopped working, and they wanted to, this only because it stopped working with this latest macOS version after 7 years, they wanted to upgrade. And even this took 10 support emails. Can we pay this way? Can we pay that way? I said, no, I would prefer if you use the online store and not have some. For 39 euros, they want to have extra conditions, like wire transfer it, like this and this. And like, you know how much time we spend waiting for your money transfer. Someone needs to have the special workflow for exceptionally for you, send it manually. And then they even had also the issue of downloading the wrong version, trying this, trying that. And then yeah, for 39 euro, all the money is already away for 10 support emails because people can't read and stuff. And let's see, we have comments in the audience. Let's maybe switch to this camera and see what the audience writes. And I only wanted to give you the summary of this is, yeah, some in the audience, Dave would charge monthly, yearly. So the thing is, I think our software model is super fair. I mean, well, it is so fair that we maybe don't earn enough, but I personally don't like software subscriptions. But however, if we make an amazing operating system, then we will probably have this upgrade tied to a software subscription thing. So if we really end up writing an amazing microkernel that works better than everything else, at least maybe not faster, but more stable than software subscription, maybe. And increase, it would tell them to buy a new one, especially 4 years later. And so the funny thing is, so we have obviously our software sales, and I mentioned in another live stream, 20% up, yay. But it is not, you know, from Thrift. I would also like to sit here with a huge team and have here a video editor and have here a new, by the way, I mentioned, I actually, theoretically, I would have 2 intern positions, of course, paid. We pay over industry standard intern rates here, like 12, 13, 14, for very good ones, maybe $15 an hour if you are a student in Berlin, which, by the way, industry standard is probably more like below 12, I heard. Anyway, but I mentioned this in another live stream. Nobody wrote in an application yet. Anyway, but yeah, not the greatest fan of software subscriptions. I only wanted to spread here some awareness. And do I buy each upgrade of VMware? No. However, if I would use VMware, which of course I don't use anymore because I'm migrating away from macOS, I would buy the update. I would also, I used VMware slightly longer. It still worked. And now I migrate to Linux, fair enough. But I also pay other people for stuff. And by the way, I have here, maybe you realized I try to influence here the word a little bit. I also have changed my attitude to pay people who do good work more, and where the service is not good, for example, not go there anymore. I also rearranged here in this building complex. We have a very nice lady who cleans amazingly, and another where I live privately. There was some company who cleaned really shit, you know, these companies who only come quickly on the clock watch and don't even wipe much, and it was always dirty. And I promoted her that she gets a job there because she's doing an amazing job, and sure enough, she's doing a more amazing job. And my philosophy is, if people do an amazing job, support them and work with them, and do not, if a restaurant is garbage, don't go there. If some car service is, I also have some funny story, by the way, which is for another live stream. This is why you want to share, like, and subscribe, not to miss out of any of this business insights and life stories here. Also can tell some fun stories of BMW car service, where we brought our Mini to, but by the way, the next oil service I will do myself, and maybe make a YouTube video, because why not? But I changed, and I will, by the way, soon, the next days, when I go to my optician, again, will probably give him one of the biggest tips I've ever given to someone, because they are doing an amazing service there. Because I always had problems that with lenses and such, they always did a shitty job, and I found now a really amazing one who really takes his time and concentration, and the lenses are much better adjusted, calculated, and such than ever before. And I will give him, which is, by the way, not very common for Germany to always, in Germany it's not like giving an enormous tip like in the US or something, but he will get probably highest tip I've ever given for supporting people who do an amazing job. And by the way, if we answer, and by the way, we have two types of, I wanted to say, we have two groups of people one group of people says our software is too expensive, although I think it is quite affordable, and the other group of people really tells us our software is too cheap, which is of course businesses like normally this diploma lawyer, whatever, should be professional, because some of these professional companies really tell us your software is so amazing, how can it be so cheap? Yeah, because we have 50% of the people telling us even these prices are too expensive. And yeah, so this is my life lesson sharing stuff here at the end of today. And by the way, I still have some coffee because there was some milk left in the milk tanks there of our amazing coffee machine. And hardware technical support in a good way around this is to sell software. By the way, welcome everyone in the audience and welcome Chase. So the problem is we sell scanners a little bit, but the problem is what software should we sell? Either we sell an operating system and sell logic boards, which I don't want to do because the profit margins are always extremely small, or we sell, for example, scanners, and we actually really sell scanners. If you switch this here to either, no, not this here, to Europe, because we don't want to send, by the way, is this even on camera? No, because obviously we don't have logistics to send scanners to the whole world. And this is why if you have this on normal English here, USA or other, then you don't see the scanners. Only if you are on this side switch to Euro, because we can only deliver scanners in the EU. Or if you go to the German side, obviously, then it's always there, obviously. And so these scanners, we only list a handful because we don't want to sell scanners. And if you look these prices up, they are slightly, obviously, higher than Amazon and such. And why is this? The reason for this is our purchase prices for the scanners is nearly the Amazon price. So first of all, Amazon gets so good prices that our distribution source price is already nearly the Amazon price. If we would sell at the Amazon price, often we would not even make €5, and it makes no sense for us. Then even people sometimes return it and such. We can't sell goods for €5 profit margin. So this is why we only sell this, obviously bundled with our software, but we make less because of the pricing. We make less money when we sell a scanner. We make less money than if when people buy the scanner at Amazon. So actually we are not even encouraging people to buy hardware from us, because if they buy it somewhere else and we only sell them the software, we make more profit than selling them this scanner to an over Amazon price or other cheap online retailers. With this bundle with ExactScan, we make significantly less. So this doesn't work out the most amazingly. And unfortunately, with our low quantities here with hardware shipment, which by the way we are not promoting, and we are not the most, yeah, it's too much overhead and hassle and too much profit margin. And then especially with this laws that people can test it and send it back, it's not fun. And yeah, it's not also unfortunately not a solution. And it's also complete support overhead, because over the last 7 years we had to change distributor 3 times. The first distributor were a friend of us, which still works in this industry. So obviously we sourced the scanner at some small distributor where a friend of us worked, and this distributor went out of business some years ago. Then he found a new job at another distributor, so obviously we went with him to this other distributor, which by the way was larger, but prices were not better. Then we used this distributor for 2 years or something, and then he lost the job there because restructuring nonsense, and now he works not in distribution business anymore, but in other imaging manufacture stuff. And now we changed to another, because this distributor had such shitty pricing, where we ended up in the meantime, we only have been there due to our friends there, and that pricing did not even make much sense for us. But anyway, we just continued it just for the sake of continuing this. And now in the meantime we switched to a third distributor, which is also not the most amazing, but at least the online ordering procedure is slightly better than previously. But this is again, then you don't need to write software. If you are in hardware business and the profit margins are that small, you can just sell the hardware. It doesn't really make much sense. For a microkernel also doesn't make much sense. There is not really much hardware. It doesn't really make much sense if you want to have 10, if not 100,000 or millions of users. You can't sell them all a logic mainboard there. But yeah, just some business insight. I hope you enjoyed this fun stories. Again, not public shaming, just this frustration stuff. And by the way, thanks to you guys watching our $3 of YouTube income plus Patreon donations and Amazon affiliates, we can already sit here relaxed and enjoy our tap water. But life would be amazing. And by the way, the fun fact is, this is probably, I expect this are usually this kind of users. As I said, probably, not that I would not know him, I don't know him, but usually in my experience that are those who never do something for free. If someone comes with them as they are in law, if someone has a law questions, do you think they answer a law question for free? Those people who are the first who say, my hour cost $100 or something, or $50 or whatever. In my experience, those people are usually those who never work for free, probably. And also additionally, who buys the latest Mac. For sure he has the latest Mac on his table and it's the latest iPhone and can't pay $39, by the way, speculating, I don't know him, no idea. But in my experience, you probably get the idea, maybe also in your experience, but as usual, leave me in the comments below. So yeah, that is the situation. And by the way, in my opinion, this market is slightly destroyed by Apple with the App Store, with the iOS and macOS, especially macOS is for free previously until some 6 or 7 years ago. macOS update costed some, I don't know, 99 euro maybe, or so dollar, plus minus, give or take, which by the way I would find fair. And in my opinion, due to that Mac updates are now for free. And additionally, Apple does not even have a update in the App Store. We cannot have a paid update. No software vendor ever can have paid updates in the App Store. The only way you can do this is with subscription, but the problem is we charge people money now, so we cannot switch those paid, or well, we could for a year not release an update and then say, by the way, now after 1 year the next update is a paid subscription, or start a new app which has some drawbacks because our app in the current form, fun fact, our app cannot be submitted to the App Store because we are not fulfilling all of Apple's stupid rules and requirements, and we can only submit updates due to the exceptions that they allow updates of existing applications, because even our vintage legacy software here, Exascan and Exascan Pro, is not sandboxed. And this is already the biggest hurdle, that we can't have a new version. So we can't even make a new version that is like this because we cannot submit a new app. The problem with the sandboxing is that not only does it not work with some scanner drivers, it does not even work with our workflow, because we have this scan program here. You don't see it much, don't really want to Google much more screenshots, but we have here obviously the scan software with profiles, and we can obviously create files directly and even automatically with barcode or named by date. And the stupid thing with this sandbox is that with the sandbox, normally you would need a file save dialog from macOS for each file you write out of your sandbox. So each file you write to documents, today's scan of accounting, tax and whatever, you would have a write permission save as dialog. And obviously if you scan 1000 pages or even 50 pages and every other page you create a new file, you would have 25 or 50, whatever your configuration is, save panel dialogs. And this, by the way, makes completely no sense. There are some ways around this. You can ask macOS for permissions for a whole subdirectory tree, I guess, theoretically. But the problem is, even this would be annoying and not very flexible and error prone, because we would, if for example, if we would ask for the user's home directory write permissions, he could still have his configuration for a volume shared file server whatsoever. And even there, he could theoretically configure this profile so that from a barcode it's recognized invoice number and whatsoever. And theoretically, he could save some scans to volume invoices and other scans to volumes, text statements, or whatever the case might be. And this is just complete, total, utter clusterfuck complex nightmare, error-prone nonsense. And this is why even theoretically it might be in some way very inconveniently possible to work with this bloody sandbox nonsense of Apple. It is not really conveniently and non-error prone possible right now, which is complete, like, yeah. So By the way, I did not expect Apple. The only good thing with Apple is I did not expect, I thought they would allow us a year of updates. I'm really surprised that after 3 or maybe even 4 years, we still can submit updates. And although they sometimes reject them for bogus reasons, I made videos about this already, but I'm actually surprised that after 4 years or something, they still allow us to submit updates with these exceptions, which I would not have expected. I've expected Apple to do this a year or 2, but not 4 years, but whatever. But anyway, can't recommend it, complete bullshit. I don't like, and by the way, it is more work. We have already a software update server, we have deploy methods, we have a website, we have classic licenses because obviously we want and also support Windows and Linux. And yet Apple takes 30% from us. And then always the fanboys, Apple fanboys, the App Store is so amazing. No, it's complete bullshit. It is only making our life harder and is taking 30% off of us for no good reasons. We didn't ask Apple to take distribution off of us. We have our own distribution. We like to run our own web server. It's amazing to run your own web server. It is no problem to manage that ourselves. And yet we need to give Apple 30% just because users demand it. And then the Apple fanboys always say, but it's so amazing. No, it's not amazing. It's complete bullshit. We cannot even have paid upgrades. And we cannot even have, you can only have one price level for the whole world. And so we would even support people in developing countries like Brazil, India, and Russia, or China, or wherever, and give them even 50% off because we are such a nice company. But we can't in the App Store because you have only one price level for the whole world. Anyway, this is the amazing wonders of modern software deployment. I really don't like it. Let's see what comments we have in the audience. Are we even still live? Actually, we have quite some too many dropped frames for reasons that we also don't like. I hope you learned something. Let's see what we have in the Danny is here. Welcome. Tap water is quite good. No fluid. Yeah, mostly. I think we had some years ago. I think it was raining too much and there was too much rainwater somewhere in, I think. But otherwise, yeah, even in Germany with this environmental pollution, especially I heard from farmers putting all those chemicals and whatnot and animal shit and whatnot on the fields. There is too much whatever in tap water in some regions, I heard. Otherwise, I'm quite satisfied. I'm still alive. I drink this plenty each day. Total fan of tap water. We are a cheapskate. As you know, we have to be a cheapskate because nobody wants to pay us for software updates, so we have to live with tap water. What I don't like in some, like in the US, it's often too much chlor, in my opinion. And also in Nice, I had the feeling in Nice, in France, it was also a little bit more chlor. Although I otherwise heard in Côte d'Azur in France, it's also quite good. I heard you should, by the way, not drink it on Mallorca anyway, because there they even bring it with container ships and have anyway not the most clean water with, on top of this, they bring it with container ships, and obviously it is not the most bacteria free or something when you bring the water from mainland with container ships in the summer month of tourists overpopulating the island. Otherwise, yeah, tap water in Germany should usually be quite good, except modern environmental problems ruining the tap water day. With this, amazing to see that more people watch business talks. Leave me in the comments below if you want to see more of this. And by the way, can't recommend to drink coffee that late. As I said, there was milk in the milk tank and I did not want to throw that away. But then again, coffee does not have so much waking me up effect, so I mostly drink it for the coffee bean taste anyway, so no problem to sleep soon. But we can also continue hacking at night on some Mac software for the people who don't want to pay updates, or on any Linux or microkernel fun. And was a great day with Apple. What has fallen to almost half of their high stock. Yeah, by the way, thanks for mentioning this. Christian, welcome, by the way, welcome to the audience. And by the way, the funny thing is now we have the most people in the audience. We could also live stream, although I have the feeling my phone ring and maybe my wife is missing me. But also amazing that more people are interested in life philosophy and not in switching an iPhone home button, which might be why my wife is calling me, as it was her iPhone. And what did I wanted to say even? coffee are Apple stock. I once in my life had Apple stock. This was 7 years ago. So right now, by the way, I don't have stock because I was tired of the stock nonsense. And once I had Apple stock some 9 years ago, 8 years ago, and I brought it. It was at $200 something, 218 or so, 8 years ago. Only some 2,000 euro for the test of it or something. And then thanks for enjoying our talking, Danny. And then, no, the chat distracted me. Where was I? Apple stock. And then I just brought it some $2,000 for 218 or something, and it fell below 200 and then below 190. And it took over a year, maybe even nearly 2 years. At least it took 1 year to just recover the loss. And then after 1 or 2 years, I needed the money for some company and such investment. And I was really relieved that I sold the Apple stocks, the 2,000 euro for plus minus zero. Maybe this, maybe I made 100 or 200 euro plus. So this is lesson learned. This is why since then I never bothered with stock again. And yeah, anyway, but leave me in the comments below what you think about this. But it's risky gambling business, of course. You don't know how this developed. It can always be a flop. It can always be some recession and whatnot. Really, by the way, not satisfied here with 1,000. Oh no, wait, 11,500, 13% drop frames. Not amazing. Anyway, this comes from live streaming with a new ThinkPad test unit, which video you can also watch here in the archived on-demand video section of our YouTube stream, which we also need to review no more. I need to go home. And I hope you enjoyed this insight. And by the way, don't be such a one who does not want to pay for software updates. In my opinion, this is not ethical. Also from Apple. Apple is really doing a really shit job. And then, you know, people on Twitter or forums, sometimes I comment on major news sites like German Heise or something. Of course, usually with a shameless self-promotion link to my YouTube videos, because why not? Need more viewers and advertisers here to rack up our income to support microkernel development, obviously. And then people fight there with me. No, it is amazing, blah, blah, blah. Say, you know what? You're a fanboy. You are speaking with an app developer who is since the first day having apps. And by the way, fun fact, I mentioned this already. When the iPhone store launched, we didn't have an app because this was also such a shit job from Apple. On the first day in the iPhone App Store, we would have maybe wanted to do something, but initially only Americans could develop for the bloody fucking iPhone iOS App Store. Thank you, Apple. Thank you. Much appreciated. And even though I had an iPhone because I was in Florida and had some IT Linux security works there, and I brought it and at an AT&T store and had to unlock it because at that time it was not didn't came unlocked and such. And yeah, so I have an unlocked AT&T iPhone 1st gen. Thank you, Apple, amazing job. And then we were not that motivated anyway with this stupid $1 iOS App Store, but maybe we should have done some stupid games one after another and become millionaire with that and not do stupid open source and professional Macworld, because professional updates are not worth anything after 4 years, as you see, as judged by our users. And then when the Mac App Store came 2 or 3 years later, we were not the most thrilled, but of course we wanted to participate into it. And because at that time the App Store for the iPhone was already established and there was this international App Store development, we could thank you, Apple, thank you that we were allowed to participate at least in the Mac App Store from the first day. And somehow not so many people were eager and engaged and thrilled by the stupid Mac App Store. And on the launch day, some 6 or so years ago, on the 1st of January or whatever, I think it was somewhere around Christmas, either the last days of December or first days of January or something, some 6 years ago, there were only 1,000 apps in the App Store, and a whopping 3 of them were from us, ExactScan, ExactScan Pro and OCR-Kit. So we had 3 Pro Mill apps in the App Store on the first launch day. Fun facts, but doesn't give us much anyway, except the exception that we can still update our app without sandbox requirements. Thank you for that exception. So if you use it, you pay for it, simple as that. And apart from idea, their prices are ridiculous here, probably. Thanks for your comments, much appreciated to hang out. Really nice that so many people joined here at that day and time, and interesting to see that, like with Louis Rossmann, live philosophy lessons bring more subscribers than swapping an iPhone home button, which I know better bring to my wife, otherwise she might not be in the best mood beside dinner time. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and the next videos. And by the way, don't expect each day to have live streams like this. We will not sustain the rate of 3 live streams a day. This is only some extra bonus material, and there will also be weeks where I will be on travel, and there is international travel coming up, and there are also some bigger projects coming up. So by the way, not coming up, there are bigger projects of people actually wanting to pay, and maybe this is also why there are not so many OCR-Kit updates, users, because you don't want to pay updates. So yeah, some fun projects coming up of business users and such who actually want to pay, and international travel. I also have some other amazing stuff to report, so the next days will probably be continued with a live stream a day, but after that there will be some weeks with less videos, because work and with that are really close now. Here our amazing YouTube session with only some 11 or 12,000 dropped frames, yeah, 13%, you name it. I need to stream with some other machine and stuff, and maybe try to look up another YouTube streaming destination, because somehow this route to, by the way, what is it even? Is this trace route? This is somehow stream at youtube.com or something. No, don't even have trace route here. Okay, then something to investigate, another live stream, because otherwise we have here quite some bandwidth that we call. But you know, the fun fact is also that companies manipulate this live stream here, so the speed test is often faster because Vodafone and such prefer routing to speed test servers, obviously for shameless marketing reasons. Just that you heard this already, allegedly anyway. But the other day I tested this. We have here really too much drop frames, but whatever. And by the way, you see modern web. Okay, actually no, right now okay, wait a second, this is on USB 3 because I don't have the Ethernet dongle, so you see amazing dongles. So this is testing here USB 3 bandwidth actually, and on this USB hub we also have the capture dongle, so we might actually degrade our HDMI capture. So yeah, there is bandwidth, just not to YouTube, for whatever 13% frame drop reasons. Stuff we have to further optimize, you name it. And yeah, good night, good day, bonjour, bonsoir, and I hope to see you soon for all the next stuff to come.